still have a couple of projects to work on. Man, I'm hungry. We should get some Taco Bell. I think they still have that deal for 2 tacos for $5. I also have to study for that test next week. That's actually, man, I need to buy some toilet paper. I'm tired of wiping everything.
What the heck?
You know, back when I was a kid, before I became the video game addict you see today, television really was my childhood. Yeah, television really did play an important role in my childhood. I would have so many memories of just watching TV, sometimes with my sister and other times with my cousins. I would have memories of coming home from school, just waiting for a new episode of a show. And my mom would always come up to me and be like, "Stop sitting close to the TV screen." You know, as you get older, you just can't really have those moments anymore, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Seeing the TV reminded me of the times I would watch TV, and the things that stuck out to me the most were the TV show openings. Now, the TV show openings, I would say, are the most important part of a television show. It's your hook. It gets the viewer excited to watch a new episode, and for newcomers, it'll talk about the plot sometimes, introduce the characters that are going to be on the show, and most importantly, has a kick-ass theme that'll stick in your head for the next 10 years. So here are gonna be my top 10 favorite TV show openings. The shows that I'll be talking about are gonna be from America. So no international television, no Armenian shows, no Japanese anime. In general, if I make it international, it just gives me so many options, and it's really difficult to make a list when you have so many things to consider. And I didn't really grow up with anything outside of American TV, to be honest. So with that out of the way, take a comfy spot on your couch, grab some snacks, and let's get it started now. Now, I remember first starting out with 2 channels, that being Nickelodeon and the other being the Disney Channel. And while we're on topic, I'm not going to put any Disney shows on this list just because I didn't really feel the OPs on that for any of the shows there. I know. I just don't want to force myself to add anything I'm not too into to the list just to kind of talk about everything. So maybe I'll be talking about Disney for another time, another video. Maybe. But I wasn't introduced to Cartoon Network until much later on. It was around my cousin's birthday party where I watched Ed and Eddie, and it was just the most hilarious show ever. Once I figured out what the Cartoon Network was, it's like a whole new library just opened up for me. And it was around the time where they would start showing the newer shows and starting to stray away from the older classics. So you would have shows like Adventure Time, Gumball, Chowder, Blackjack, Johnny Test, Ninjago, Total Drama Island, Mad, Regular Show, The Looney Tunes Show, you name it. But at the same time, you would have shows like Dude, What Would Happen? Or Hole in the Wall, or Destroy, Build, Destroy. You know, the non-cartoon shows for Cartoon Network. But out of all the shows I watched, there were really only 2 cartoon openings that really stuck out to me so much. And this one being...
It started when an alien device did what it did and stuck itself upon his wrist with secrets that it hid.
Oh yeah, Ben 10. I remember so well when I was a kid. Me and a couple other guys at elementary school, we would just like run around the playground pretending we all had Omnitrixes on, and we were turning into our like these aliens from the show, and we were fighting the main villain, Vilgax. And eventually one of the friends that I was hanging out with, he became my best friend at the time. But now, as a 24-year-old mouth breather with no friends, I haven't really watched the show ever since, but what stuck to me was this opening. The show does a really good job actually giving off the brief summary of the plot and shows off all the aliens in action. I mean, my watch is cool too. Glows in the dark. Shut up. Oh, and not to mention that strange alien voice that sings throughout the song with the Cartoon Network's 2000s rock. It just works well to the show's opening intro theme. And my favorite part of the song actually is towards the end part where you have Ben with the unique animation and all his transformations, showing off their abilities a little. Just really cool, especially when he counts up to 10. I don't know why it's so hype. I mean, I never found counting to 10 to be this hype since I was like 2 years old and making this video too. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good opening, but it's just, there's some things that kind of age it poorly. One thing that comes to mind are just the PNG images of the aliens just flashing at you like it's a Ken Burns effect. And the words Ben 10. And another thing is, I know the show's about Ben, but why not have more of the side characters? It's literally just Ben and the aliens and just like maybe 2 seconds of Gwen. No Grandpa Max? I mean, are you serious? What would Grandpa Max think if he saw this opening?
You know, I'm so fed up with this babysitting you. When the is it gonna stop? Who the are you? I don't get it.
Anyway, I guess I just forgot to wear my nostalgia goggles on or whatever. It's still a great opening and it's much deserving of the number 10 spot on this list. By the way, that wasn't intentional. All rise to the ToastBros national anthem. Yeah, it's easy to forget that this is an actual TV show, since not many people talk about it anymore. And yeah, obviously, I wasn't alive when this show was on air, but I do have a lot of memories watching this cartoon on top of that Mario 3-1 and the Super Mario World.
Super Mario World.
A moment of silence for YoshiArt.com. But anyway, this is around the time where I was starting to get into gaming and leaving that TV face behind me. But the main reason what got me really watching the show was because when I was playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 as a kid, I was really curious to see how Mario sounded like for some reason. And I guess I got my wish. The opening starts with a disembodied Mario head, I guess the first time, saying the magic words,
It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
I don't know, just a whole Brooklyn accent caught me off guard. Then the World 1-1 overworld plays and turns into a rap theme?
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame.
And this is something that gets a lot of criticism for TV show openings. Generally, people seem to hate rap openings for some reason. I mean, maybe it's because it's cringy by trying to relate to its audience, or maybe it doesn't match the material the show's based on, or maybe it's just a bad song. I actually like the song though. And the rap parts are really only like 20-30 seconds long. The rest is just the remix of the main theme with the just animation of the main four doing... I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, you could say it's kind of lazy for them to just show them doing nothing, but I mean, it's better than recycling footage from the TV show. I can imagine even at the time, it was really cool just to watch the stuff that you played with on the games just show up on the screen animated fully. I mean, they really only had the first Mario game and Mario 2 to work off of. But wait! There's more! So this one that I was talking about was actually the main theme for the live action version of the show. There's a second version where it's just a cartoon. Basically, it's mostly the same rap, the same song. The lyrics are different. It pretty much explains how Mario and Luigi ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom. One thing that kind of pissed me off though is the fact that Luigi is just going after Koopa Troopa, and Bowser sees this, and what does he do? He just jumps off the cliff, like, dude, use your shell! What are you doing? Like, imagine if the intro went like this. But still, I have a soft spot for this OP. It's a good rendition of the ground theme. And biases aside, I feel like this opening stuck with a lot of other kids back then, especially when they used this song to promote the Mario movie, which is absolute cinema. What more can you say, but you'll be hooked on the brothers.
The brothers.
When the time came where my parents switched out from Charter Connect to this freaking thing, I was only really limited to 3 channels. One of them was Cubo. Remember Cubo? I would watch a couple shows like Pippi Longstocking, Class of the Titans, and Being Ian, to name a few. I mean, well, those are the only ones I watched. The next show I would watch would be like once a week. It would be the Saturday morning cartoons. It was mainly Sonic X, and sometimes I watched this show called Magi Nation, which is amazing. Other than that, they would show like some anime like Dragon Ball Z or Yu-Gi-Oh, which I wasn't really too into. But funny enough, I would rather watch the stuff they would show before 6 a.m. It's like these 30-minute infomercials that they would show of like the Magic Bullet or like the Dust Devil. And I always found it hilarious how they would have like these families come over to someone's house and be like, "Hey Phil, you want to see my electric cheese grater?" I just found it just oddly interesting. But the last channel I would watch, and bear with me, this would be the one I would watch the most. And you know, it was a desperate time.
Just tell us already.
Okay, I'll say it. I would watch the public broadcasting service, or a lot of people would know as PBS. PBS, they have a lot of good shows. I genuinely enjoyed watching shows like Fetch, Road Rough Man, Word Girl, Electric Company, Cyber Chase, Martha Speaks, Clifford, Curious George, you name it. And a lot of the themes are actually pretty good too, but funny enough, I didn't watch this one show that I feel like everyone watched once in their lives, but I have no memory of watching. It's a show that you might know, you might love. It's
a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Every time I feel like this world is a cruel place, or if things get too fast and overwhelming, I watch Mr. Roger's Neighborhood. I guess you could say it's a comfort show for me. This song kind of becomes somewhat sophisticated for a kid's TV show. I mean, you start with the little musical box with that amazing model of the neighborhood, and then kind of goes to this jazzy theme. It's really interesting, and you know, Fred Rogers himself composed the piece. And my favorite part of the show is how Rogers just follows the same thing beat by beat, you know, coming in, maybe showing his new item of the day, takes his coat off, wears this little knit sweater that his mom made him, zips it up all the way to like around this part of his chest, and then he goes to change his shoes, and he always throws the shoe to the other hand. It's the same thing over and over again, but it's done in one take. And that's just commitment right there. He's been doing it for 30 years. There's this well-known story where Rogers went home on a train, and everyone who recognized him sang his theme song. And no doubt, I would say maybe like 1 billion people alone in America been impacted by the song alone. But this is where I kind of go nitpicky mode. So I understand this is a children's show, and I understand that Rogers most likely composed this song wanting to people sing it along. But the lyrics, man, I mean, once he has a good start.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
But once he goes to the, it's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. What is that? What does that even mean? And it kind of just derails the momentum it has going.
I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you, so.
I will say this though, I mean, after all the years that he did the song and just seeing him how he ages, it's kind of bittersweet to say the least. But I guess regardless on what race you are, what's your social status, if you're blind, if you're from a different country and don't even understand English, the message gets across. And since we're together, we might as well say,
please won't you be my neighbor?
And now to the opposite spectrum, we have the adult TV shows. And to be honest, I didn't get the chance to see much as a kid. My parents were the type to get angry if they saw me watching a couple kiss on television meant for young teens. But I do have memories of catching a few glimpses of Adult Swim before I went to bed. It almost felt taboo watching those shows. I mean, it was kind of interesting at the same time just seeing what kind of shows that adults would watch. As I got older, I feel like the shows that are considered adult are more childish than the actual shows that are meant for children sometimes. There would be times where I would stay at my grandma's house though and watch Nick at Night and Adult Swim. Overall, I would just watch these shows at her house like George Lopez, SNL, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Robot Chicken, King of the Hill, Futurama, 2.5 Men, and that overrated garbage. But anyway,
who's calling that shit?
Hello. But anyway, the most talked about show, especially during my middle school years, was definitely
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
I don't know what devil Seth MacFarlane summoned and made a deal with to be so talented, but holy crap, Lois, this is one of the most instantly recognizable television shows of all time. Next to South Park, maybe. And that theme song, like there's nothing like it, but at the same time, number 7 goes to a spot I would say is a lot better.
Good morning, USA.
While Family Guy is arguably more catchy, the opening act doesn't really say much about the show other than showing off the characters maybe and saying how the Family Guy, he said it, how the Family Man can do all the things that make you laugh and cry. Like, what does that even mean? But American Dad's opening is, on the other hand, it's just, Sam doesn't have to spell it out to you. Guy does backflips getting off of bed and singing about how his country is amazing. He has just so much joy singing. I just love the way how he just maneuvers around the house like an acrobat. He just goes to his car and heads to work. Just salutes to the flag every time he sees it, man. And I just love the simple things like him hugging his family before going to work and checking the news, which is different every episode, actually. I like how, especially even the newer seasons, they kind of switched it up a bit, more of family dynamic. And even Roger had like a new costume of the day with the Good Morning USA part. Heck, I even did a speed run of the opening. It just took a lot of effort to pull off, actually. Anyway, there isn't really much to say more other than Good Morning USA.
Good morning, USA.
There's a lot of shows that have a long-lasting legacy, and the themes kind of help boost up that relevancy, I would say. I mean, you would have shows like The Addams Family, even The Flintstones, and the Looney Tunes. I mean, everyone just kind of sings like da-ra-da-da-da-da-da. But none of them holds a... The heck? Come here. What the heck is that? A bird? A plane? Sephiroth? It's title sequence? There are very few shows that do an excellent job like The Simpsons does. I mean, where do I even start? Well, let me start at the beginning. No. Even further. Back when I was a kid, my parents didn't really let me watch The Simpsons just because they saw it as like an adult TV show. It wasn't much till later after I would go to Universal Studios, and I feel like in Universal Studios, out of all the lands you go to, land of Springfield just seems like the most real to me. I mean, going to the Simpsons ride, eating the Krusty Burger, going to the Quickie Mart, getting a donut and all that, it just has like a very unique feel, and all throughout you just have like the Simpsons theme kind of play in the background. It wasn't until much later on that where I would watch the clips of Simpsons on YouTube, and I would eventually watch full episodes and really appreciate the show's humor. I mean, it's a really funny show, and it really reflects on the show's opening. I mean, you have like a whole choir introducing you to the world of Springfield, giving you like an overview of what it looks like, and you get introduced to the main character, Bart, just doing his standards all the time. And I'm gonna say this right now, this opening alone is amazing. They have so many different versions, and I'll get back into that. And just in general, like, there's just so many jokes packed into this, and the fact how it just introduces all the characters like properly, and who they are, what they do, and all the surrounding characters too. And just like how the song sounds like, you're in a rush, you gotta go home. Why do you have to go home? Because The Simpsons is on, that's why. And just like them sitting on that couch, and that couch right there, dude, the couch gag might as well be the mascot of this entire video. That is the TV show opening mascot. It really is one of the greatest shows in all time, and I really can't do it much justice. The only reason why it's not even past the halfway mark is because, again, I didn't really see it much as a kid, so there's a lot of other shows that really hold more dear to my heart, but The Simpsons is the gold standard, or maybe the yellow standard. Like I said in a previous entry, Nickelodeon was one of the channels I started with. It had so many classics after classics, and I feel like no one did it better than Steven Hillenburg did. And wait, before you think I'm adding SpongeBob to the list, it's not Temp Temp material if I'm being honest. But don't get me wrong, that song, you could sing it in public and you could probably have a group of people just sing along with you. It's kind of on the same level of, row your boat, or The Wheels on the Bus. But no, the show I am talking about was done by another cartoonist, Butch Hartman. This is a prime example of an opening that gives you the main context of a television show. It's a kid that lives a miserable life, but his magic fairies grant him wishes to make him happy. It shows us the main cast, gives us some backstory, has some good humor, and even a unique gag at the end. I really like how Timmy's world before meeting his fairies is all monotone and instantly gets all colorful as he starts to show all his wild imagery. Honestly, this intro alone kind of reminds me of the Aladdin song Friend Like Me. Just take a listen.
Swans and wings, floaty crowny things.
Mr. Aladdin, sir, what will your pleasure be?
Eyes magic little fish who grant his every wish, 'cause in reality they are his.
No, man. No. about a little more baklava?
Anyway, there isn't really much to say about this song. I haven't watched the show ever since Cosmo became pregnant. Don't worry about it. But the show unfortunately became butchered, see what I did there, in the later seasons, and did the unforgivable sin of modernizing the main theme to add the main character Chloe.
Chloe's his new neighbor, and she's ruining all these plans. Odd parents, very odd parents. More than one? This should be fun. Timmy, beware, you'll have to share your very odd parents.
The more I hear about Chloe, the less people that'll be in this world.
Who's calling that shit?
What do you want?
Check out my new YouTube channel. It's called Geography Me.
Dude, I really wish I would stop getting these stupid calls. What the? That's not what I would. Next entry. Flip your lid? Speaking of Butch Hartman TV show openings.
He's a phantom.
Remember when I said TV shows using rap intros were usually hated by the public? This is an exception. It hits all the check marks on what makes a great TV show theme. Honestly, what can I say that hasn't been already said? It explains the premise very well, the visuals and tone of the setting fits the mood, beautifully explains Danny's powers, and has a fast and catchy tagline. I also want to give a quick shout out to the beta version of the song. It skips the whole backstory and the power explanation, but I like it as a cool extended version.
Peter's life is changed, molecules rearranged, ghosts are so deranged. Spirits don't stand a chance, senses all enhanced, powers so advanced, gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom.
But aside from the lyrics, the instrumental fits that spooky vibe with that synth. But regarding about the show, I didn't really follow it as much as some people I know. But in general, it was still a good show, and just like the intro alone is very much the benchmark of just great opening shows on TV. But other than that, there isn't really much to say about this song. I mean, yeah, it's alright. It's kind of short. Going Ghost. Anyway, some shows withstand the test of time. Other shows are doomed to stay irrelevant in that generation they were aired in. And as a desperate plea to stay relevant, some shows would make their OPs hip and cool to the kids, but they come off as forced and cringy, at least to me. Take Scooby-Doo for example. Scooby-Doo had a really iconic theme, but it's just nowadays it's not too hip, it's just a product of its time. I mean, you know, you have the 60s version, the 70s, the babyfied 80s version. You know, it's just hard to stay relevant nowadays in this age with a good opening theme that'll just get someone's attention. I mean, what can you do? Dude, no joke, out of all the themes in this list, this is the one that gets me the hype most. Like, something about that era of 2000s rock band is amazing. I mean, I think you could safely say all of America knows who Scooby-Doo is, but not where he is. I'll be here all week. But my point is, you don't necessarily need to spell out what the show is about, but it still does a great job showing you the overall tone through the animation alone. Like, if you were to get some guy from like a remote village and show him this show's opening, he would probably give an accurate description on the show. Also, this has to be probably one of the most funniest intros to any TV show that I've watched. My favorite part is when Fred had that smug look on his face, thinking he scared off the monster, and he just looks behind him and it's like a bigger monster, and it turns out the monster that he thought he scared off turned out to be Scooby, and you know, it just shows all the gags and stuff. It really does a good job showing the overall tone of the show. It's amazing. The theme is hype. It's played by a band called Simple Truth, which released a much more higher quality theme of this song, and I urge you to check them out. But I guess I don't really know how to end these. What's new? It only makes sense that the greatest animated television series of all time makes it on this list. Where do I even begin? Just let's start at the beginning. You have the bright and cheery Warner Brothers logo with the nice blue and cloudy skies transition to the dark and gloomy city of Gotham. And you just kind of see all the spot searchlights of the city, standing on the floor, and just get a nice view of just where it is, all the monochrome and just shadows all around. And you go to the bank and you see two robbers doing a heist and, escaping from the police and somehow making it up that building. And then, all comes Batman just getting the call, being like, he's on his way, and you see the Batmobile. You don't see him until, he jumps down to intercept them. And then you just have like an epic fighting sequence where two armed men versus a guy in a freaking bat suit. And all in 10 seconds, the fight ends with Batman just capturing them. It really goes to show you what kind of show this is, who our character is. Not even a word spoken, only moved by the orchestra. The powerful motif that na 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 na. It's just amazing. It's not like, oh, Batman, he could fly or whatever. Like the other TV shows. It's like, Spider-Man swinging his webs, or even Ben 10 with all his aliens. No, none of that. You have just emotion in that. You really have just that feel of you being sucked into the world automatically, and just seeing who this guy is. And I love how at the very end, where Batman's just aura farming, that lightning strikes to reveal what he looks like by that split second, and then just fades to black into the new episode. And that right there is one of the greatest television openings of all time, I would say. And literally, just so many of these frames in the intro alone could just be displayed in an art museum and exhibit. It's just beautiful. It's beautifully animated, beautifully orchestrated, beautifully choreographed. And it just really is the prime example of what I look for in a great TV show opening.
Now, why isn't this show number one? Well, I didn't really grow up with this show. Heck, I wasn't even into superheroes until 5 years ago, actually. But regardless, if this opening doesn't make you want to watch the show, I don't know what will. I highly recommend it.
So when making this list, I could have chosen so many great themes from different kinds of channels and TV shows and genres. And when it came down to narrowing what number one was, I didn't think it'd be this simple, but I found a way.
I never thought that it'd be so simple, but I found a way,
Now, as a kid, I didn't really watch too many sitcoms, and don't get me wrong, there were a lot of good ones to choose from, but Drake and Josh, out of all of them, it stuck out to me the most. And despite going through so many controversies and having the intro theme maybe muddled or ruined for some people, this one has remained untainted for me because of the brothership it shows. It had that early 2000s rock, performed none other than Drake Bell, one of the main characters. Now, even though the intro is just a bunch of clips from the main episodes, it still does a really good job showing their personalities. It really is just about the brothers and the stuff they go to. And, to kind of cheat on the rules a bit, the full version of the song really kind of rides home about the kind of the brothership that the main characters have. The main characters aren't even, actual brothers in the show. But still, it kind of gets me thinking about my own brother, my cousin Matthew Pavamis, which you see in the channel, and all the times we spend together. So every time this intro comes up, I just always think of him and our time spent together.
Over your shoulder, you know that I told you I'll always be picking you up when you're down. So just turn around.
But yeah, even though it's kind of cheating putting a show like this in number one, despite it not being the Batman animated series, just having so many good moments. With mine and Matthew's favorite moment is the end where they just kind of do the little click. It's just, that well earns its spot in my books. And you know what? I'm gonna go and grab a toast. Oh shoot, gonna do a toast to the bro that is here watching for the channels, supporting me all along the way. This one's for you, man. Well, that's the list. It's kind of a shame how TV shows aren't really that popular nowadays, especially with the rise of the internet, but overall, it really does play a special place in my heart, and it was still fun talking about my memories about it. I still have a lot more memories, and maybe I'll talk about it more another time, but I think it's time to move on and maybe create some new memories. Who knows? But it's kind of weird that TV just shows the channels that we're talking about. Well, this has been ToastBros, and see you later, I guess. I'm gonna put this where I found it.